Thank
You're
you.
recording.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning. This rulemaking hearing is called to order. My name is Anna Matlock, and I serve as Associate General Counsel in the Department of Commerce and Insurance Division of Regulatory Boards, and I represent the Scrap Metal Registration Program. Would the agency representatives who are here today please introduce themselves for the record?
Thank you, Ms. Matlock. My name is Roxanne Lucio, and I'm the Executive Director with the Scrap Metal Registration Program.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Camusio. Today is Tuesday, December 15th, 2020. This rulemaking hearing is taking place pursuant to Tennessee Code Annotated Section 4-5-204 via Cisco WebEx video conference platform. The purpose of this rulemaking hearing is to solicit comments on rule amendments to the rules and regulations of the Scrap Metal Registration Program. The proposed rules are in response to a review of the finances and suggestions from the program's self-sufficiency hearing before the General Assembly in January 2020. Fees for the program have not been updated since 2009, over 10 years ago. Specifically, the proposed rule increases the initial scrap metal registration fee from $175 to $200, and the renewal fee from $125 to $175. Furthermore, the rules eliminate the $10 replacement certificate fee and the $10 request to change address fee, as these two features are available on the licensee portal at no charge. A rule is defined as an agency statement of general applicability that implements or prescribes law or policy, or describes the procedures or practice requirements of the agency. Proposed rules are filed with the Office of the Secretary of State. A notice is given to the public for comment, and the rulemaking hearing is held. Upon conclusion of the hearing and adoption of the proposed rules, the rules are forwarded to the Attorney General's office for review of legality. If approved, they are then filed with the Secretary of State, which is responsible for publication, and the Government Operations Committee of the General Assembly. The rules must stay in the Secretary of State's office for 90 days, then end of which time will be the effective date. Those members of the public wishing to speak should place their name in the chat box located in the bottom right-hand corner. Only those who have signed up will be permitted to speak. Oral comments will not be accepted from persons who have not entered their name in the chat box. Is there anyone else that desires to offer oral comments but is only appearing by phone and cannot access the chat box? Seeing that there are none, I would call your attention to the chat box. In the chat box, I'm going to place the link to the red line version of the rules. The notice of rulemaking hearings included the entire text of the proposed rules and were published on the Tennessee Administrative Register website on October 13th, 2020. Ms. Camusio, what additional notice was given to the affected individuals or groups?
Thank you, Ms. Matlock. An email notification was sent out to anyone registered under this program to receive such notification. That went out on or after October the 16th. At the same time, around that same date, the website was updated with a link to today's meeting, and the red line version of the rule updates is also available currently and has been since October. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Camusio. As the agency hears public comment on the proposed rules, I, as moderator, reserve the right to limit such comments if they become repetitive. Please limit your comments accordingly. I will now summarize the substance of the proposed rules into the record. These rule changes are going to be amendment to Rule 0780-05-14 0.06. The rule is amended by deleting the text of the rule in its entirety and in substituting language so that as amended, Section 1 shall state all applications for registration under the Act shall be accompanied by a non-refundable fee of $200. Section 2, all applications for renewal of registration under the Act shall be accompanied by a non-refundable fee of $175. Subsections 3 and 4 are deleted in their entirety. Before I take any public comments, I will read comments that I've received via email prior to the hearing. Actually have not received any public comments prior to this hearing. Ms. Gamusio, were any written comments received by the program office regarding these rules?
No, none have been received.
Okay. I will now, so far it appears to me that I do not have any individuals that have signed up in the chat box in the bottom right-hand corner. Is there anyone here that would like to speak? Just please place your name. Okay, my apologies. Miss Haney, can you please tell me where I stopped?
Yes, if you will just place your name at the bottom right-hand corner of the box. Anyone here that would like to speak, just place your name.
Okay. So just making sure we didn't hear the amendments that I'm making to the rulemaking hearings noting file form. Did nobody heard that? Roxana, you're You're muted. Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, I think you stopped at looking at the chat box and
Okay.
seeing if anybody was signed up. And I've been keeping an eye on it as well. No one has signed up. No one has sent emails since you spoke. That's where we lost you.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no names, the comment period has concluded. I would like to take the time to correct a few errors on the notice of rulemaking hearing filing. The header located in the top left-hand corner has been corrected from 0780-04-14-0.06 to 0780-05-14-0.06. Additionally, of the filing is amended from Rule 1260-01-.01 is amended by deleting the text of the rule in its entirety and substituting instead language so that as amended, Rule 1260-01-.01 shall read the following. To Rule 0780-05-14-0.06 is amended by deleting the text of the rule in its entirety and substituting instead language so that as amended, Rule 0780-05-14-0.06 shall read. That concludes this rulemaking hearing. Thank you for being here today. Typically, all rules related to fees go into effect July 1st in the preceding year if filed by the April 1st in the Tennessee Secretary of State's office. However, rules may be exempt from this requirement if it can be demonstrated that the program did not collect sufficient fees to pay for the cost of the program in the preceding 2 years. As the scrap metal registration program has not collected sufficient fees in the 2 preceding years, these rules will go into effect 90 days following the filing of the rulemaking hearing filing form with the Tennessee Secretary of State. Lastly, there are several measures that I will need to adopt as required by TCA Section 4-5-222. First, the program will adopt the hearing rules language, and that language will be read into the record. Rule 0780-05-14-0.06 fees will be amended so that the rule shall read 1. All applications for registration under the Act shall be accompanied by a non-refundable fee of $200, previously $175. 2. All applications for renewal of registration under the Act shall be accompanied by a non-refundable fee of $175, previously $125. Subsection 3, which previously stated a request for replacement certificate shall be accompanied by a non-refundable fee of $10, is deleted in its entirety. Subsection 4, which previously stated a request to change the address on a certificate shall be accompanied by a non-refundable fee of $10, is deleted in entirety. Secondly, the program will adopt the Regulatory Flexibility Addendum / Economic Impact Statement. The Regulatory Flexibility Addendum reads as follows. The proposed rules may affect small businesses in the scrap metal industry. Specifically, the rules are in response to a review of the finances and suggestions from the program's self-sufficiency hearing before the General Assembly in January 2020. The rules would require minimal, if any, costs for compliance. Furthermore, the proposed rules may have an impact on small businesses and consumers, but ultimately this impact is advantageous to both groups. Increasing the fees will permit the program to be self-sufficient and sustainable. An exemption of small businesses from these requirements would not be beneficial. The industry consists of many small businesses. However, these fees and elimination of certain fees are the first since 2009 and were received positively from several industry stakeholders. The program knows of no other less burdensome, less intrusive, or less costly alternative methods of achieving the purpose and the objectives of the proposed rules. The proposed rules may be similar to other industry regulatory programs. Next, the program will adopt the Impact on Local Government Statement pursuant to TCA Section 4-5-228. The statement reads as follows: the scrap metal registration program foresees no impact on any local governments. Finally, the program will adopt the following answers to the questions required by the Joint Government Operations Committee. All agencies, upon filing a rule, must also submit the following pursuant to TCA Section 4-5-226 I-1. Please review this document and let me know if you have any questions or concerns. I will now go to subsection A, which states a brief summary of the rule and a description of all relevant changes and previous regulations affected by such a rule. The proposed rules are in response to review of the finances and suggestions by the program's self-sufficiency hearing before the General Assembly in January 2020. Fees for the program have not been updated since 2009, over 10 years ago. Specifically, the proposed rule increases the scrap metal registration fee from $175 to $200 and the renewal fee from $125 to $175. Furthermore, the rules eliminate the $10 replacement certificate fee and the $10 request to change address fee, as these two features are available on the licensee portal at no charge. Subsection B, a citation to and brief description of any federal law or regulation or any state law or regulation mandating promulgation of such rule or establishing guidelines relevant thereto. The statement reads, there are no known federal or state laws or regulations mandating promulgation. C, identification of persons, organizations, corporations, or governmental entities most directly affected by this rule, and whether those persons, organizations, corporations, or governmental entities urge adoption or rejection of this rule. The statement reads, the proposed rules would affect current and future licensees. The proponents of this rule would include members of the scrap metal industry that wish for the program to be self-sufficient and sustainable. The program does not foresee a particular segment of opponents. However, a segment of licensees may oppose fee increases. D states identification of any opinions of the Attorney General and reporter or any judicial ruling that directly relates to the rule or the necessity to promulgate the rule. The statement reads, there are no known opinions of the Attorney General and reporter or any judicial rulings that directly relate to this rule. Subsection E states an estimate of the probable increase or decrease in state and local government revenues and expenditures, if any, resulting from the promulgation of this rule, and assumptions and reasoning upon which the estimate is based. An agency shall not state the fiscal impact is minimal if the fiscal impact is more than 2% of the agency's annual budget or $500,000, whichever is less. The statement reads, by increasing the initial and renewal licensure fees, the program anticipates an increase in licensure revenue of approximately $40,350, or about a 7.6% increase. Expenditures will not be impacted. By eliminating the replacement certificate fee and request to address change fees, the program will see a negligible decrease. For fiscal year 2020, the program received a total revenue of $140 for these fees. Subsection 4 states identification of the agency representative or representatives possessing substantial knowledge and understanding of the rule. The individuals listed are myself, Anna D. Matlock, Associate General Counsel for the Scrap Metal Registration Program, and Roxana Gamusio, Executive Director for the Scrap Metal Registration Program. G, identification of the appropriate agency representatives or representatives who will explain the rule at a scheduled meeting of the committees. Again, I'm listed, Associate General Counsel for the Scrap Metal Registration Program, and Roxana Gamusio is listed as the Executive Director of the Scrap Metal Registration Program. H then requests the office, address, telephone number, and email addresses of agency representative or representatives who will explain rule at a scheduled meeting of the committees. And my name, myself, Anna Matlock is listed, and Roxana Gamusio is also listed. Subsection I states any additional information relevant to the rule proposed for continuation that the committee requests. The response is there is no known additional relevant information. Thank you. Following this hearing, the rules will be put on the rulemaking filing form SS-7039, signed by the Assistant Commissioner, and resubmitted to the Governor and Attorney General's office for review and approval. Once the Attorney General's signature is obtained, these are filed with the Secretary of State and generally become effective 90 days from the date of filing. I want to check just one more time to make sure if we have any public comment regarding these rules. Seeing that there are none, this concludes the scrap metal registration program's rulemaking hearing. I thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Ms. Matlock. I don't see anything either.
Okay, Dustin, we can end the recording.